Observer, Allodial Trust, Observer. This is Observer, Allodial Aboriginal Trusts. The order of the day at this time is to send a bunch of Allodial Trust, Aboriginal Trusts, up to the Observer. Observer is the order of the day. Observer is the order of the day. Observer is the order of the day. As within your Observer, I've also installed for you the Noble Drew Ali's Caveat Emptor, of which it is in the letter from the letter that he writ, that he said, this is to be read in the beginning before every meeting, and then 6 months later, that's when the Unum Sanctum operators, the great sellout, they moved to demonstrate their, treason, of which he talked about within a letter in the chapter of, which is the same letter that is to be read before every meeting, Caveat Emptor, which is what we're seeing today. So within your Observer, as I'm saying, you have this built-in Noble Drew Ali apparatus called Caveat Emptor. And then I'll get into that. And this is all about the restorations of your lost estate. Page 1. Observer, Allodial Aboriginal Trusts. Read at every meeting. Noble Drew Ali. Title: The Moorish American People. Allah is Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and day, through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. Ra. To be proclaimed in every meeting. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know, in black bold letters, the truth and the divine truth. End of black bold letters. There is a host of quote-unquote jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government and the government officials and the nations of the earth that it is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme they can to try to disqualify me so they themselves can take charge of the situation. I have notified these things to you long in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement in uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finances in all caps. And I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so as badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my, quote, fame and nobility, unquote. The nations of the earth, the nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work in which I have performed in the last few months, because I was at the governor's inauguration to represent the Moorish divine and national movement, and I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover for the same cause. Moors are men, in bold and black, upright, independent, and fearless, end of bold and black letters, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain or unknown. They are fortified by the unpregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits and their insidious plans to invade such realm in bold red letters. They try and try. This is called caveat emptor. Sorry about that. And let me start it over. This is the area that is installed, I said, within my observer, our observer, called caveat emptor. Now, this is the writ under that particular title, subtitle. Moors are men, in bold and black, upright, independent, and fearless, in the bold and black letter, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain or unknown. They are fortified by the unpregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits in their insidious plans to invade such realm. In bold red lettering, they try and try, but their own bad plannings bring down wrath upon their heads. End of bold red lettering. Like the sword old Damocles had, intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any time. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the world years before, the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemes work, where traitors grin and culprits bask in the sun. In all red bold lettering, they think they are on the same road with true Moors. End of bold red lettering. But the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers fly high, catch scent, devour, and leave crying out, caveat emptor. Cast out the dead carcass. The Moors are high above these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exist, hurl themselves downward by their own works as hawks await. Page 2. I hereby inform all members that they must, in bold and black letters, end all radical agitating speeches, end of bold black lettering, while at work in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace, not destruction, and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. In bold red lettering, failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. End of bold red lettering, we are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All Moors will and must obey the laws as laid down to them by their prophet. They should all true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If any more, it looks like I left out a certain sentence, so I'm gonna but go and look it up on Google for yourself. That's the letter to be read at every meeting by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. But you said the sentence I think I left out was if any group or member holds any type of tension towards the prophet or the temple, they should turn in, or something along those lines, but look it up for yourself. I can't do it on this phone because I'm recording from it. They should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their Prophet and the temple. This is, in bold black lettering, an everlasting movement, founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. That's the letter to be read at every meeting. After that letter, 6 moons later, that's when the great sellout, the people that he talked about within the Caveat Emptor, Unum Sanctum operators, that's when they, in a human language, you will say they assassinated him. But there's other things that took place. You tap into, I will call it, he transcended the body and watched them think they were doing something that they actually weren't. That's my perspective. This is the letter. The Observer is the science of, this is from what I've written today. The Observer is the science of Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey. The Observer is the science of Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey in his lecture at the House of Reawakening Minds called, YouTube title on YouTube, Misrepresentation of Winter Solstice, Christmas and New Year with Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey. All rights reserved. This letter was, and that's the end of the title. This YouTube video was done December 20th, 2019. The sun was in Sagittarius, balanced out by Gemini. The moon was in Libra, balanced out by Aries. Now, this is my paraphrase understanding of what I picked up out of one of his messages in this video for me, my estates. He mentions, because my soul is using him as a catalyst, he mentions, watch the Dark Priesthood. He didn't say it in these words. I'm paraphrasing it. Put it in a language I understand. Watch the Dark Priesthood accelerate their efforts to war against the heirs of the land. Because on their way out, due to our awakening, however, also due to the cosmic time it is, they intend to injure more heirs of the land. Observe them, for they try to discourage us, you, from what is actually taking place. I'll get into that later. What is actually taking place is the restoration of our lost estates. Now, if need be, as you observe the accelerated psych attack efforts against our estate, turning your thalamus, as he says, pointing to the pineal, inward, transcend it. Yeah, we see him. See what you're doing. Whatever. I'm doing what you. Yeah, okay. Whatever. The whole time, the Observer is taking all the information down. It's already set up the way it's going to go, the way natural law is going to do what it's going to do. Just whatever. And if they continue, you know what I mean? And you know what that internal language is, which I've experienced mine, where it's like, okay, consent with my higher self. We say, yeah, you can use it. Then you can give the gift that keeps on giving. We're not talking about abuse of power, because then natural law will not allow you to get it off. Uranus and Saturn. Trust yourself, and nature will form certain ways. Trust yourself, and nature will accommodate you. It will form in certain ways in order to support you, because you're being yourself. All masks are off. They are exposed, and so are we. All hail, finally. Because there's been a lot of BS going on. Now we can be ourselves. And now all of that other stuff that's actually been injuring us, whether we knew it or even not, we just knew that our leg kept on hurting. Finally. So then I had a so-called dream. And it showed me much of the things that, much of the things that I was going to have to approach, as I'm approaching now, and as I'll continue to approach as I finish off this video. These are the wheats from the tares that are separated. So the tares are unum sanctum operations. The wheats are our spiritual transformations. And that's our restoration of our state. Now, these are the tares. Now, the wheats and the tares grow together. These are the tares. The tares are unum sanctum, accelerated encroachment. They send out their beasts to gain jurisdiction over the sovereign estates. They writ it within their book of terrorism, as they use it, Genesis 1, code 26 through 28. That deals with the concept where they do their concept of the misrepresentation of these hermetic principles. So the church made the Bible. The Bible came from the church. The church didn't come from the Bible. That's that Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey concept, so that's Genesis 1:26 through 1:28. Through 8 through 1. That's Genesis 1:26 through 2:8. And that is, let us go out and make man in our own image. Study that stuff. Let us go out and gain jurisdiction over sovereign living beings through terrorism, threat, duress, coercion, trickery, intimidation, and many other things. So within that, civic, spiritual, economic, political, metaphysical, occult, physical, genetic, quantum physical operations take place to try to gain jurisdiction over you, to make you into taxpayers, tithers, fiduciaries, strawmen, public officials. Look up these terms: taxpayer, tither, fiduciary, strawman, public official. Civically, spiritually, economically, politically, metaphysically, occult, physically, genetically, and quantum physically. These are called fixed hex traps for estate transfer. This is their main resource for how they've been able to live off of our hereditaments and virtues to our injury. Civically, spiritually, economically, politically, metaphysically, occult, physically, genetically, and quantum physically. Go and look at the video, Sin, Satan's Inquisition or Satanic Inquisition Network Disrupted, by Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey and Dr. G at the House of Reawakening Minds. The YouTube channel is called House of Reawakening Minds, and the title is called Sin, Satanic Inquisition Network Disrupted. And that's where he will get into giving you these terms called taxpayer, tithe, public official, fiduciary, as fixed hex traps for estate transfer and conversion, which is how our estate and injury has been occurring for these generations, even to us knowing and not knowing. So what is just taken place was the wheats, and what will continue to take place is the wheats. And this is my continuous estoppels, rebuttals, adverse claims, and reversions of my estate. And dismissed.